Have you ever had those moments where all you want is to just sleep? This has been days, but your brain, whatever it is, keeps talking and talking. And it's funny because tonight it's like a story. The story that is basically the foundation of how I've gotten to the point of where I'm at, of having to learn to be confident, of having to learn to not back down, to believe in a higher power, to know that there's something more than what truly meets the eye in the world that I exist in. Because as I was laying here, all I could hear was, the pattern of belittling and degradation, the things that were meant to break you, that made you. And as I was sitting here, I started thinking of all the names. And of course, the faces pop up in my mind's eye of all the individuals that, I could sit here, call them by name. But why waste your time? You don't know who they are. But I'm sure you have a list similar in your mind. It's almost like if Peter at the pearly gates was calling the devil's roll call. You have those people that put the lashes on your heart, that their sole intention was to bring you down because they couldn't pick themselves up. And that's the hard part, because most people will drop to their knees and say, what's the point? And believe me, I've gone down the path of what's the point. I have gone down the path of addiction, drugs galore, parties, alcoholism, playing with demons because I couldn't fight them. But when you go down those paths and you say, there's more to life, and you get up off your knees and you keep moving forward, yeah, you're going to continue to meet those devils along the new path. But the thing is you begin to see them. You begin to say, no, I'm good. It's like going to a place you don't want to be and realizing, oh, if I go in there, I might not make it out. So you learn to continue to go alone. And as you do that, your faith gets stronger. Your will gets greater. Your aura gets brighter. But understand, with those things, the devils tend to perk up even more. They notice, and now they want to test you. They want to play. Because they want you to dim your light and they want you to go away. Because that's the thing about people that shine a light. It irritates the demons. But yet they're so attracted to it like a moth, because it's an energy that they want to possess, but they cannot maintain. And the more that you entertain these devils, they'll suck the life out of you. You'll find yourself back down those paths that put you at a stalemate, that put your mind in a whirlwind. And the odd thing is, a devil can look you dead in the eyes and tell you how much they love you as they're abusing you. And it feels so good, because it's that one thing when you have that light that you truly want in your life. That love, that compassion. And I've always wondered, why does it have to be fake? Why does it have to be something that doesn't come from their heart? But I guess that's the thing, is their heart is so toxic that they really don't have one. It's almost like Iron Man. Not to say he didn't have a heart, but Iron Man was a suit, right? That was driven by a certain material that possessed him and gave him those superpowers. And that's the thing with those devilish people. They are possessed by something that in their mind gives them superpowers, superiority, the ability in their mind to control the scenario, never realizing that they are the puppets in the charade of a dark master, not realizing they serve an entity, thinking that they are being served, never realizing that they're in the middle of a game that they believe themselves to be in control of and controlling the outcome, never realizing the whole time that the manipulation they are presenting on the backside is the very thing that takes away their heart, takes away the one thing that allows them to be alive and feel and almost be human. People have become so afraid of emotion that they have disassociated themselves from an emotionless world. Most individuals are in programmed mindsets. Gotta have an internet connection to tap in so they can tap out, just to not feel. Barriers are created, walls are built, all from the concept of, I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel disappointment. I don't know what love is. And I am better than anything around me, so I will separate myself from it. It's a false sense of royalty. To believe that one is greater than the other is an asinine concept that basically drives people to, I'd call it insanity, to believe that they can ultimately control an outcome for their own lives. And the funny thing is, there's a false sense of comfort. You know, there was a point in my life where I was comfortably numb, not feeling, and I was dying inside. But I distracted myself. But then at some point, the silence got so loud and the noise wasn't even noticeable. And I was on autopilot. And I couldn't get past the idea of where any of it was going. What was the point? And we all know that leads us to really dark avenues in our lives. And I think all of us have been there. Sitting at one point with a bottle in our hand, contemplating, ultimately giving up, finally giving up. Not a bottle, some pills, whatever it is, the sedation, the acceptance of being so numb and being checkmated by the devil. But the thing is, when people get to that point, very seldom do they turn around and say, you know what, there's more glory in this life. I can come back from the darkness and I can share a story, my story, that says, hey, we can all make it. There's no need for competition. There's no need to fear those feelings that make you feel alive. Because why live a life waiting to die? What's the point? You're never living. We've gotten to a point where we don't even want to associate with one another, because that means that there's a concept of competition, but it's a competition that we've created among ourselves due to not wanting to be judged, not wanting to be failures, not wanting to be hurt, because we have felt all of those things. And normally all of those things have been felt as early as elementary. Those school years when you shouldn't have even known if it was embarrassing, right or wrong. But at some point, some adult called you out on it, or there was a set of rules that was created that placed us in boxes. You know, I woke up the other day hearing certain words in my mind, and I was just like, wow, I haven't even considered those words in decades. And it's crazy how life can fast forward, pause, go reverse, you know, past, present, future. And at some point you got to ask yourself, where do you live in that concept? Because you live in the past, you're depressed. You live in the future, you're stressed. You live in the present, that's where you feel. But presently, in the world that we live in, it's on autopilot. Disassociation, disconnection, sedation, toxic. So at what point do we bring our present back to being that gift? That thing that allows us to laugh and have camaraderie and build rapport with one another and bring back trust and love, fellowship. Because I'll tell you, there is a greater power that a lot of people suggest, or I'll say profess to believe in. But their actions show otherwise. But when you've been to the pits of hell, and you've been on the brink of hope, and faith is that mustard seed that is your driving force, you do come to understand there's a higher power. I mean, look at yourself. Honestly, you're nothing but particles and molecules that are visible due to a light. It shines really bright. We know it as the sun. But so many magical factors that create grand illusions such as ourselves. And within those illusions, called ourselves, we have the ability to produce chemicals that give us the ability to fluctuate senses that allow us to feel. That's so outlandish that people want to shut it off and go back to the illusion of a competition. So, just laying here with my mind going crazy, thought I'd share. Maybe it got you thinking. What side are you on in the world? you know, this imaginarium that we call life. Good night.